At 1:33 a.m. on November 12, 2025, in the Black Sea, Russia sent out one of its most valuable ships, rushing to China to collect money for a war it was losing. But exactly 63 seconds later, Ukraine was ready to strike, aiming straight at the ship's engine room and turning it into a massive fire. The weapon behind that strike was an 18-foot drone skimming across the water, just 2 miles off the coast. It's called the Magura V5. And its main power doesn't come from speed, but from physics. With a draft of only 1.3 feet, the boat sits so low in the water that its radar signal is smaller than a seabird. To the powerful Russian naval radar scanning the area, it's almost invisible, hiding below the 50-foot radar line, like it doesn't even exist. But inside, there's a surprise. 4 small FPV drones, called Killer Bees, each carrying a 6.6-pound RPG warhead. Any Russian analyst would understand the problem. To reach the tanker, the Magura first has to slip past the Sea's drilling platform. It's a 260-foot steel fortress loaded with 60 elite soldiers, Igla-S missiles, and Kornet anti-tank weapons. On top sits the Neva radar, Russia's all-seeing eye, able to track 200 targets up to 28 miles away. To the tanker's crew, that fortress makes them feel untouchable. But 100 miles away in Odessa, the Ukrainian operator sees something different. On his screen, the tanker isn't a ship. It's just coordinates. A $100 million problem waiting to be solved. And he doesn't need to destroy the fortress. He only needs to blind it. Tonight, Ukraine has 2 silent helpers. The first is a heavy fog that cuts Russian visibility to less than a mile, making their expensive cameras useless. The second is the sea itself. 4-foot waves rising and falling, creating natural cover that hides the low-moving ghost boat from human eyes. The stage is set, the trap is ready, and the Russians are about to learn a very expensive lesson about underestimating their enemy. As the Magura moves within 0.6 miles, its cargo doors slide open with a revealing the 4 Killer Bees inside. This isn't a quick launch, it's a sequence. First, FPV number 1 takes off. It doesn't attack. It climbs in a slow, steady circle until it reaches 200 feet. Its job is not to fight, it's to act as a relay, a moving signal tower that keeps all the other drones connected when chaos begins. Next, FPV number 3 and number 4 launch, flying in opposite directions, circling low like sharks just outside visual range, patiently waiting for the moment to strike. Finally, FPV number 2 powers up. Its 4 brushless motors spin up to 20,000 RPM, their sharp, high-pitched whine cutting through the night as the drone heads straight for the SEAS platform and activates its Mirage electronic warfare package. This isn't normal radio jamming, it's something far more dangerous. Mirage doesn't try to blind the Russian radar. It tries to drive it insane by recording the Neva radar's own scanning signal and retransmitting it dozens of times, with precise delays and angle shifts, creating an entire army of ghosts on the Russian operator's screen. Inside the SEAS platform's control room, a single radar blip suddenly explodes into chaos. 40, then 50 phantom signatures appearing out of nowhere, all moving fast, all moving unpredictably. The Neva system, built to track 200 real targets that obey physics, is now drowning in a swarm that obeys no laws at all, and its processor begins to choke as alarms start screaming through the control room. The radar operator yells into the radio, panic cracking his voice. "Too many targets! I can't find the main axis of attack!" In the middle of the chaos, the Russian operator does exactly what the handbook trained him to do. He targets the signature that looks the most dangerous. On his screen, one contact is moving faster, more erratically, glowing brighter than the rest. It's FPV number 2, the decoy. "Target locked!" he shouts, as an Igla-S missile launches from a soldier's shoulder, a streak of flame cutting through the fog, homing in on the heat of FPV number 2's screaming motors. Just as Ukrainian planners expected, a bright fireball erupts in the sky. FPV number 2 is gone, and with its Mirage package destroyed, 49 ghost signals vanish instantly from the radar. For a moment, there's silence. Then a shout of relief fills the control room. "We got it!" They think they stopped the main attack, but they made a fatal mistake. They wasted a missile, and they focused on a technical illusion. While they celebrated, FPV number 1, the signal relay, kept circling calmly above them, sending a clean, perfect data stream. And FPV number 3, the first shark, received the signal to strike. It stops circling, accelerates sharply. The patient predator becomes a guided missile with one target, the NEVA radar antenna, the one piece of equipment that makes the SEAS platform a fortress. Through the drone's camera, the Ukrainian operator watches the horizon tilt violently as he dives, the massive steel platform rushing closer at terrifying speed. Faint lights on the lower decks visible beneath the dark, spinning radar antenna at the top. He has one chance to turn Russia's all-seeing eye into $100 million of scrap metal. Inside the Russian control room, their celebration ends instantly as a new alarm erupts. A single fast contact appears from nowhere, already inside minimum engagement range. Moving too fast! Contact on bearing 090! It's diving! The operator screams, disbelief in his voice. How did it get this close? They don't have time to figure it out. The 6.6-pound RPG warhead on FPV number 3 is a masterpiece of brutal physics. It's not a normal explosion. It's a shaped charge built to create the Monroe effect, collapsing a copper cone into a jet of molten metal traveling over 26,000 feet per second. FPV number 3 hits the base of the antenna assembly, and for a microsecond, nothing happens. Then the shaped charge detonates, and the molten copper jet punches through the antenna's protective casing like paper, tearing straight into the delicate high-frequency waveguide that carries radar signals. The blast races down the waveguide, frying every sensitive electronic system in its path. To the soldiers on deck, the explosion is small, a sharp crack, a flash, a spray of sparks. But inside the control room, it is catastrophic. Every screen tied to the NEVA radar goes black. The sweeping radar line disappears, replaced by a dead, silent hiss. Their world has just gone dark. They're blind. And the second shark is already on its way. The SEAS platform's entire multi-layer defense depended on that electronic eye. Now it has none. The silence in the control room lasted only a second before the commander's voice exploded over the radio, his tone cracking. Visual targeting. ZU-23. Fire a barrage. Shoot at anything that moves. On the open deck, the ZU-23 gunner didn't wait for a second order. He knew what this meant. This wasn't precision fire anymore. This was area denial. He slammed his foot on the firing pedal as the twin-barrel 23mm cannon roared to life, spitting out 600 rounds per minute, 10 high-explosive incendiary shells every second, the foggy night turning into a blizzard of tracers and burning shrapnel. To the operator of FPV number 4, sitting in Odessa, the world suddenly became a math problem. His screen was chaos, sea foam, muzzle flashes, red tracers streaking past. He wasn't flying a mission anymore. He was in a close-range dogfight. Tracers, high, down, evasion, he muttered, reacting on instinct as he shoved the stick forward, the drone dropping toward the waves while a burst of rounds tore through the air where it had been half a second earlier, a clean miss. He rolled right, then dove again, his movements sharp, uneven, unpredictable. On the platform, the ZU-23 gunner cursed. It's too fast, I can't get a bead on it. He guessed where the drone might go and fired a long burst. This time, luck was on his side. A single 23mm tracer smashed into the carbon fiber arm of rotor number 3. Inside the Ukrainian operator's feed, the screen flashed red. Rotor number 3, RPM deviation 14%. Gyroscopic stabilization error. The drone shook violently, tipping left as the onboard computer fought to stabilize it. It was hit, it was wounded, and someone watching saw it. The Cornet missile operator, staring through his thermal scope, noticed the change instantly. The drone's once clean heat signature became unstable, shimmering. He recognized the look, a wounded target. Target hit! It's damaged! I have a lock! He shouted. Fire! Came the reply. The Ukrainian operator watched a white flash on his screen, the launch of a Cornet missile, a death sentence moving at Mach 1. He knew the math. His drone was damaged. It had lost agility. He couldn't outrun it. He couldn't dodge it. 3 seconds to impact. His mind raced through every piece of data. Wind speed, trajectory, altitude. There was only one option left. Instead of trying to escape, he did the one thing missile guidance logic would never predict. He cut power to all 4 motors. The drone instantly stopped being an aircraft and became a 30-pound rock falling from the sky. The Cornet's computer, locked onto an aerodynamic flight path, suddenly lost its target and committed a fatal logic error. The missile screamed through the exact point where the drone should have been. A perfect shot at empty air, a miss, and its path ended when it slammed into the tanker's upper deck. The explosion was devastating. The missile's tandem warhead, designed to defeat a main battle tank, punched straight through the tanker's 20mm steel plating, but the real destruction came a moment later. The burning rocket motor tore into the network of high-pressure fuel lines, igniting crude oil instantly. A massive geyser of fire and black smoke shot into the night sky. In their moment of victory, the Russians had triggered their own disaster. Everyone watching thought the mission was over. They were wrong. A deep, heavy roar cut through the night, louder than gunfire, more menacing than any drone. It was the Magura, the executioner. The drone boat surged forward, its jet propulsor pushing it to 42 knots. The tanker's burning deck lit up its target perfectly. The engine room, exposed and vulnerable. On the tanker's bridge, frantic screams filled the radio as the crew finally saw it. 200 pounds of destruction racing toward them. "It's the boat! The boat is attacking! Turn! Turn! 5 seconds to impact. 4, 3. This is where physics meets brutal force. First, the kinetic energy, over 1.2 million foot-pounds, the same as a freight train slamming into a brick wall, and the hull plating begins to buckle. Then the 500-pound TNT warhead detonates. It unleashes a 1,500 psi shockwave that doesn't just punch a hole through the ship, it rips through the steel frame like an underwater earthquake. The blast tears open the main fuel tanks, turning their contents into a fine mist. That mist mixes with air, forming a massive fuel-air bomb, far more powerful than the TNT. And then it meets the fire already burning on the deck. A blinding flash erupts, white, violent, impossibly bright. For a moment, there's no sound. The fog vaporizes. Night becomes day. Then the shockwave slams through. A physical punch rolls over the water, smashing into the sea's platform, shattering windows, knocking soldiers off their feet. And then comes the roar, an earth-shaking blast as 500,000 barrels of crude oil ignite. The tanker doesn't just explode, it disintegrates. The 1,500 psi shockwave doesn't just rupture tanks, it tears apart the entire ship. The 800-foot vessel rises out of the water with a scream of twisting steel. Then it snaps in half. 2 burning sections slide under the Black Sea. In under 13 minutes, a mission run by operators 100 miles away triggers 5 devastating explosions. A $100 million tanker and its precious cargo, gone, reduced to burning metal. A column of fire climbs thousands of feet, visible from Crimea. The sea's platform, once the all-seeing eye of the northwestern Black Sea, goes dark. Radar gone. Defenders staring into nothing, waiting for an attack they can't detect. And that tanker, with its 500,000 barrels of fuel meant for Russia's war machine, becomes a permanent artificial reef. But this is where the real damage begins. Losing one Shadow Fleet tanker hurts Russia, but the message hurts more. Moscow now realizes its strategy, old, uninsured tankers protected by static posts, is finished. Global insurers will label the northwestern Black Sea a war risk zone. Premiums spike, shipping slows, costs explode. Russia's only fallback? The Arctic route. Longer, pricier, clogged. Ukraine didn't just sink a ship. It jammed a wrench into the logistics of Russia's entire gray fleet, cutting Black Sea exports by 5%. While Russia blames a technical malfunction, NASA and Maxar images and videos from Crimea tell the truth. The myth of Putin's untouchable Black Sea fortress collapses in one night. This is checkmate. The attack forces a choice Moscow can't solve. To prevent this again, they must pull their best air defenses, like Pantsir, away from front lines, just to guard low-value platforms. Every Pantsir moved to protect an oil rig is one less defending armored units in Donbass. One brilliantly executed operation makes Russia weaken itself. So here's the final score. 1 modified drone boat, $250,000. 4 FPV drones, cheaper than 2 gaming PCs. Result? A $100 million tanker wiped out, Black Sea logistics disrupted, Russia's Shadow Fleet shaken. A strategic win capable of shifting a war's direction. So the real question is, which destruction tonight impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new here and enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe.